Hey there, it's Dominic Rubino from Profit Toolbelt. How are you? Just check and make sure my microphone's working. Hey, glad to have you back. Thanks so much for checking in if this is your first time here. This is Profit Toolbelt. And on this channel, all we talk to and all we talk about is business owner issues for business owners who are in the construction trades. Doesn't matter what construction trade you're in, we all face similar challenges. Yesterday, I presented to a group of solar panel industry experts. So, people that install solar panels on roofs and provide electricity to either homeowners or commercial industrial applications. And the room was full of electricians and roofers. You might think at first glance that nothing could be further in the type of business that they do. But in actuality, the business of the business, exactly the same. And so it was a really good presentation. Now, this was a national distributor of solar panel products that had me come in. And I thought I would share with you something interesting that came up from that meeting, something you may not have expected. When I went through the room, because I was doing a little bit of sales training piece for them, when I went through the room and started talking to the people, I found out that all of them had very similar sales challenges in their company. Now, remember, these are all business owners. They're already running successful companies, but what seemed to be consistent, what was limiting their growth, was how they were selling and how they had control or management over the way things were getting sold for their business. And there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of I don't know, and there was a lot of frustration in the room. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to do a series, just like I did before for collections and accounts receivable in the construction trades industry. I'm going to do a series now on sales and selling. And if you're selling your products and services, we follow a system. And the key is always to follow the system. If we don't, it's called stepping on your sale. Now you might say, Dom, where'd you get the training to be a sales trainer? I thought you were a business guy. I am, and that's a great question. I came into business through one of the channels that people come in. I came in as a salesperson, and then I moved into sales management, and then I moved into business ownership. And through that, and operations. And so through that, I gained a lot of experience. On top of that, I've been business partners with a really well-known sales trainer for a very long time. His name is Brian Tracy, and he's a well-known author and speaker in the world of business, business improvement, sales, and sales improvement. He's the guy that you quote when you're saying, you know what they say about sales, and then blah, blah, blah. Well, he's the guy who probably said it when you're quoting him. It's been around for a very long time. We were talking about he used to sell cassette tapes on sales. And so I learned in the trenches how to deliver this, how to use it in my own business, which I have. And I took other types of training as well, because sales is an ongoing education, just like it is in any trade. You know, the materials are always changing, the applications are always changing. You need to stay on top of things. It's the very same thing with professional sales. So let me take you through the 7-step selling process. There are that many steps. There are 7 steps, and they're always the same. And now what's important about those steps is that you have to understand them in your business, and you have to follow them in order, because if you do them out of order, that's called stepping on your sale. And if you step on your sale, you kill the sale. You don't want to do that. Okay. So today I'm going to do the big picture. I'm going to talk to you about all 7 steps. And over the next little while, I'll release other episodes that go through each step in more detail. And the reason I want to do that is so that you can, obviously see it for yourself, but also if you have other people on the team, if you have an estimator who's doing sales for you, if you've got a dedicated salesperson doing sales for you, if you bring somebody on the team, you see what I mean here, then you're able to give this training to them if you like, save you some money. You won't have to go hire a trainer. You won't have to do all that. You can just at least start them here and know that you've got a system in place for training your people on how to sell the proper way. So hopefully I'm providing some value to you there. All right, so let's go through the systems here. Now, if you're walking your dog or you're in the car, you're not able to take notes, that's okay. This is all transcribed, so you can download the transcript. I'll work with my assistant to make sure this is in some sort of manageable way that you can download it. I'm not sure how I'll do that yet, so keep checking back. But you can also just listen and enjoy it. Let the wave wash over you, think about it and consider it. You're already doing almost all of these steps. I guarantee it. If you're successful, if your business is at any level, really, right now, then I guarantee you're doing each of these steps. But, and there is a big but, if you like big buts, you might be doing them in the wrong order, or you might not understand how each step relates to the other one. And it's the same with a construction plan or a blueprint. We build this first so that this can happen next, so that this can happen after that. And it's the same thing in sales. Sales is not chaos. Sales is not randomness. Sales is not talking. Oh, excuse me. which apparently I can't do right now. Sales is actually about asking great questions and listening. Isn't that an interesting way to look at things? And the other thing I'd like you to consider about sales, being a professional salesperson who sells something that you're proud of, is that you want to make sure that you're always acting in the best interest of the person you're sitting across from, right? I only want to recommend what I truly believe is right for the other person. So I want to ask great questions. I want to listen to what their needs are, what their fears are, because they have fears, what they're excited about, because they are a little bit excited. And I want to find those things and help them have this discussion. That's all it is. It's just a discussion. And through that, I can help somebody buy. Now, I hope you caught that. I'm not talking about selling things to people. I'm talking about helping people buy. That's what I'm a specialist at. I'm not great at sales, not at all. What I am great at is helping people buy the right solution for the problem they've got. And if you view yourself as that problem solver, a lot of this really becomes a ton easier. You know, one of the things that came up in yesterday's presentation as we were doing our breakout groups and talking amongst ourselves is there was a lot of stress about the word closing. You know, what's your closing line? What's your best closing strategy, Dom? Hey, give me one line to close anybody. That's the wrong answer. That's the wrong question. Sorry. That's not the way to look at it. Closing is actually a non-event. Closing is irrelevant. Closing is just part of the conversation if you've done all the steps that come before it first. So as you know, those of you who've checked out this channel or heard me speak or met me face to face, you know I'm a big fan of systems and process. That's what a business coach does, is I help people remove the chaos out of their business and help them get perspective and systems and processes. And so this is a classic flowchart. Nothing really crazy. It's a flowchart, but it's a very exciting flowchart. And there's money at the end of it. There's money in it. You know, this is one of the ways to fix your profit leaks. If you find you have profit leaks, you should actually fill out an application. If you think your company is leaking profits and you're frustrated, fill out an application and let's get on the phone and talk about that. But this is a process to find and fix those profit leaks. It's a process, and that process is drawn as a flowchart. So let's get into it right now. Step number one is prospecting. Okay, so prospecting. If you're taking notes, write that down. Prospecting. Prospecting is just like prospecting for gold, right? You load up your mule with a pickaxe and a shovel and you head out into the hills. You're going to find new opportunity. And that's what prospecting is. Now, all of us have different kinds of businesses, and you might prospect differently than somebody else prospects. No problem. That's okay. But prospecting is finding the opportunities through however you market. Okay, so first comes prospecting, and after that comes the qualifying stage. Not before, not after. So next comes qualifying. Qualifying is where I make sure that you're the right kind of potential customer for me and my company, that you can and will make a decision, and that you have the money to make the decision in a reasonable amount of time. And each of those statements I made weighed heavily on different people in the audience. Somebody heard this and went, oh yeah, man, I always forget to ask them about time. Or you might have said, yeah, that decision maker, the person who can and will make a decision, that one keeps biting me in the butt. So that's what the qualifying stage does. We'll get into more of this later in other episodes. Then the next stage is appointment setting. So once we found somebody and qualified them, step number 3 is set an appointment with them. There are strategies for setting that appointment properly and positioning it so that you're more likely to get them in line with making that buying decision, making the sale, making the purchase, right? So appointment setting is the next stage. Then once we're in after appointment setting, we're into presenting. So many people think this is sales. Show up and pitch your product. Have my binder. I'm going to show you all these magical tools, magic beans, whatever it is. No, presenting is the 4th thing in the process. And if you haven't done steps 1 through 3 before that, you have very little chance of gaining that business. So this is where presenting comes in. Presenting has its own little sub flow chart, which I'll get into later, because there are steps you need to follow in that sale as well. Remind me to talk about the Jenny Craig approach for starting off a sales conversation in that sales presentation, the Jenny Craig. And if I forget, somebody send me a message online and I'll remember to do it for you. After presenting comes the closing stage. Now it's in the same conversation, but it's a separate phase of the conversation. You're in a separate level of the conversation. So you are asking the closing question, you're working at getting the business, right? Then another phase of that is objection handling. You know, you actually want to get objections. from the people you're talking to. You want them to say, hey, but what about this? And I'm not sure. Tell me more about that. Because that means they're interested. The more objections you get, the more chance you have of actually helping that person buy the right solution from you. Doesn't matter what you're selling. Fire suppression systems, HVAC, windows, painting, redoing their hardwood floors, electrical roofing, all of those things. There's going to be some sort of objection, and you want the person to put the objection on the table so that you can talk about it, right? So there's objection handling. And then after the sale, you've asked for the sale, now you've handled objections, you've got the paperwork. There's also a follow-up phase. And the follow-up phase is whether you got the deal or not. And so that's the 7th step in the sales process. All right, let's stop there for today because that's a lot of information. The seven steps, if you're watching the video, I'm holding up 7 fingers. There's the 7 steps for you. We're going to go into each of those in a lot more detail in upcoming episodes. Thanks so much for checking in. This is Profit Tool Belt, and this is what we talk about here. Have a great day.